and I have taken as my mantra. It's in a documentary you can see on Showtime about me and our wedding, and other things are in it. It was actually a very important philosophical principle put forward by a great 20th century thinker named Henny Youngman. He was a kind of comedian who adopted a kind of misogynistic view, as many of them did at Pose. But one of the things he said was actually very funny and very profound. How's your wife? Compared to what? That used to be somewhat sexist, but now we could ask more how's your wife, so it's not a sexist thing anymore. But the point is this, we have a decision to make. You have two things to do as a political activist. One is to improve the situation so that you have a better set of candidates and a better set of options. And you fight very hard to expand the possibilities. But at a given point, the time has come to choose. And that's when the question is, what's the choice? Well, here we have Donald Trump. Now, some of our well-carbon friends, the eternal believers that justice will arrive in their party, all evidence to the contrary notwithstanding, who are very happy because he actually said, and the platform says, he will protect us against apparently a foreign invasion. Now, as a gay man, and as others over here, we have things we are concerned about. The prospect of a foreign invasion has never been high on that list. I welcome that protection, although protecting people from people who are motivated by hatred, by telling them that they shouldn't hate but they can buy a gun, seems to me a somewhat ineffective form of protection. But the fact is that he and his party oppose every other form of protection against the mistreatment we face here in the country. And in particular, we have a 4-4 tie on the Supreme Court, not on same-sex marriage, that's 5-3. But it's 4-4 on the critical question of whether people may invoke their personal religious feelings to deny someone else's right. Because Anthony Kennedy, who's been consistently pro-LGBT in his rulings, did vote to allow the Hobby Lobby company to refuse to pay for birth control, not abortion, birth control. Well, birth control is a constitutional right. It's been a constitutional right under a series of Supreme Court decisions for many years. So when Justice Kennedy says you can invoke your personal religious objection to deny someone's right to contraception, it's very likely that he would do the same with regard to same-sex marriage. It's 4-4. The next Supreme Court justice will break that tie. He or she will also break the tie on whether or not we can curtail big money in politics, and the Voting Rights Act, and a whole range of other issues, and women's right to choose. But we will have a majority if Hillary Clinton wins, and we will be in the minority if she doesn't. Donald Trump has been very unspecific about what he plans to do, and I don't blame him for not telling us what he would do. You cannot criticize someone for not telling you far more than he knows. He has one specific. He will appoint a justice like Anthony Scalia, one of the... Now let's be clear about Anthony Scalia. There has never been a more highly placed militant homophobe in the history of the United States. And citing him as a model is as direct a threat to us as can be. There are executive orders that Barack Obama has issued. An executive order saying that if you take federal money, you cannot then discriminate in hiring against us. Some objected, they ignored the great principle that they heard from Gus Hawkins, a former congressman. If you're going to dip your fingers in the federal till, you can't complain if a little democracy rubs off on it. So the case for Hillary Clinton is overwhelming. But here's what you need to do. People in this room know Bernie Sanders supporters who as of now say they're not going to vote for Hillary Clinton. And I believe it is our special mission to point out to them that whatever their views were about Clinton versus Sanders on a whole range of other issues, a decision today or come November not to vote for Hillary Clinton because of those other issues, because she falls short, and no issue is worse than Trump, but because she falls short, disregards our rights and our concerns. And I will tell you, I have a personal issue with some of the people who were Sanders supporters, not for having been Sanders supporters, but for telling us today that they will not vote for Hillary Clinton because of these other issues. And in fact, that's a superior moral position to some of us. I do not understand how anyone can reconcile a claim to be in a superior moral political position with an intent to disregard LGBT rights when you vote. And I believe we have to tell them by the way, a similar issue applies when you say we have been deeply engaged in the fight for racial justice, alive to the African American community. You gotta stop clapping that time right now. And what we have, we've had a great alliance and great support for the Congressional Black Caucus. Overwhelmingly, they supported Hillary Clinton. And as I stood on the platform yesterday and looked out at people, some booing the notion of voting for Hillary Clinton, others passionately cheering, I have to tell you an important fact. Overwhelmingly, the African American delegates were passionately cheering on Hillary Clinton. And among that smaller number who were booing, they were almost all white.
Yeah.
Now, people have a right to their opinions, but once again, I reiterate, please do not tell me that you are dedicated to relieving America from prejudice and unfairness and people being treated unequally, but ignore the important issues of fairness for African Americans and protecting the legal rights of LGBT people. So I end with this. You have a job to do. Everybody here, I know, everybody here has friends who are planning, as of now, not to vote for Hillary Clinton. The people in this room are people who have fought hard for the progress that we've made, not just for us, but for other people yet to come. I believe we have the moral right to confront them in a polite way. I don't always live up to that, but that's the goal. And insist that they take into account our rights and that they not go to the polls in November and abstain from doing what they can do to protect our rights, to continue our fight, to complete the rights of people not to be fired or discriminated against, to make sure that married couples can be married but then can be fired or denied housing, and also to press for racial justice so that we can restore the Voting Rights Act and contain big money. I think we have the moral side of this, those of us who are for Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump. Other issues, people can make whatever choices they want. But I think at this point it is very much the role of the LGBT community. I know people get trouble with letters. One guy, well, I remember when it was just G. I'm 76 years old. I can remember when it was just F. We have the obligation. I'm going to finish with this. Our commitment to doing everything we can to get full, unassailable legal equality for LGBT people of all ages. Our obligation to do that includes making sure that people vote for Hillary Clinton in November, not because she's perfect. Look, I'm sorry, take one more thing. I say people don't think she's a perfect candidate. And I know there are other people who have that, Tom Duane and others that I see. I once had an experience, I think Tom had. I once voted for a candidate I knew to be perfect. By the time I ran for re-election, that wasn't true anymore. Tom's agreeing with me. Because you know you're in office, you do a little of this, a little of that to get things done. No, I've never voted since 1972, me, for a perfect candidate. But we have a candidate where the contrast on our rights is so overwhelming that we have no moral right to talk about morality, to let anyone tell us that they're going to totally disregard that cause that they say they agree with and not do everything they can to defeat Donald Trump. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Barney Graham.